Hello all, welcome to my video on Inferno Act 2 Monk. I'm just going to take you through some of the basics that I've gone for as far as gear and build is concerned, especially what's necessary in going through into Act 2 of Inferno. Act 2 of Inferno is, well, it's a lot harder than Act 1 in Inferno, and quite frankly I went back with almost the same gear I've got on right now into Act 1 and realised how easy it was. I think I played for 4 or 5 hours straight farming Act 1 with this gear without dying at all. So yeah, there is a big jump between Act 1 and Act 2 in Inferno, and the difficulty really does raise. So yeah, we'll take you through what's necessary, and I mean even now I'm struggling a little bit in Act 2, but it's nowhere near as difficult as it was when I first got in there. So let's take a look at the abilities first. I think that's probably most important. My build's changed a hell of a lot in the last, probably in the last few days, and the reason for that is because I'm trying to figure out best ways for survivability, but at the same time control a good balance so that I'm able to kill what's in front of me at the same time. Now, my primary left click is Wave 100 Fists. It is ruined with Fist of Fury. I like Wave of 100 Fists because it's got that general sort of area effect knockback ability. Very similar to Fist of Thunder with that third hit that knocks them back and sort of stuns them a little bit. And I was using Fist of Thunder for a long time because of that, but Wave of 100 Fists seems to be doing that job with a lot more damage attached to it, so very happy with that. The Fist of Fury basically just gives you a buff for 5 seconds, which ups your weapon damage by 10%. So that's fantastic. Blinding Flash, I find it a very good crowd control ability. If you don't know what it does, it's just a 20-yard flash which basically stuns your enemies for 3 seconds, and it basically gives them, sorry, I was just reading it, it gives them the ability to miss by 30% as well. Now I've got that ruined with Searing Light, and Searing Light increases the chance that they'll miss you by 60% after they're flashed. So, you know, because monks are very sort of dodge orientated tanks, and you know, if you can sort of give a reference to Warcraft, they're the evasion tanks of the game. You know, our high dexterity gives us a lot of dodge chance, so you know, having that extra sort of miss is also very handy. You know, it's one thing to mitigate a percentage of the hit, but it's another to miss you know, the swing altogether. So the first action I've got on my toolbar is Mystic Ally. If you see me sort of moving around, you'll see my Mystic Ally there. You'll see a lot of Mystic Allies with the wind sort of aura around him, but I've completely chosen to skip that, and I've gone for Earth. And the reason why I've gone for Earth is quite simple. Earth gives you a 10% buff in health, which is fantastic. He still deals a 40% standard damage, but at the same time he has a taunt ability, so that makes him more of a tank than any of the other elemental runes on the Mystic Ally. We do need, you know, to take off some of the, I guess, the targeting from your enemies, and as much as possible when we're in Inferno Act 2, so I find that very, very helpful. Serenity, look, there's no monk build complete without Serenity. Serenity is fantastic. It gives you a 3-second immunity, and it's an absolute immunity. What I mean by that is it's not just for damage, it's also for movement impairing effects. Now, what I like most about this is you don't have to cast it prior to having these movement impairing effects. You know, if you are jailed or you're stunned or frozen or whatever it might be, you can actually cast it while you're in that state. So if you're actually taking a fair bit of heat and damage while you're stunned, or whichever it may be, you can cast it to get out of jail. It will protect you for 3 seconds and prevent any further damage. It will allow you to move out of that effect which is impairing your movement. So, you know, Serenity is amazing. And, you know, no build in Inferno would be complete without the Rune of Peaceful Repose. And basically what that does is it turns Serenity not just into a bubble, but into a bubble and a heal at the same time. Quite fantastic. In my defensive slot I've got Breath of Heaven. Breath of Heaven, pretty much every rune works in a different advantage way. I particularly like Breath of Heaven with Blazing Wrath for the rune. Reason being is because it gives you a 15% damage increase for 45 seconds. So if you just have a look at the buff, I'll just show you quickly. Actually, no, I won't, because I've got no spirit, but but basically the buff is for 45 seconds. Um, and it's a 15-second cooldown for Breath of Heaven. So based on the way that I'm going to be healing in these fights in Inferno, I do expect this buff to be up at all times. So 15% damage increase pretty much at all times. Not going to complain about that whatsoever. Speaking of buffs, I'm using Mantra of Healing. Obviously, every monk's running around with a mantra because you just don't want to do without one. A lot of people go around with Evasion as their mantra, and Evasion's quite good. Like I said to you, it's always good to have that extra dodge, and it's a great way to tank. But honestly, I just couldn't really come past the extra 20% resistance on the rune that's on this Mantra of Healing. And to top it off, you know, Mantra of Healing, it's a spammable ability. And, you know, people are saying, Chino, why would you want to spam something that's already buffed? Well, quite simply, when you activate Mantra of Healing, it gives you a 3-second bubble which will absorb up to 930 damage. And you can use that consistently as long as you've got enough spirit, of course. It does cost 50 spirit, but to be honest with you, it's completely worthwhile. And, you know, if you can hit fast enough and get enough hits in to be able to stand and tank something, then you'll notice that you can actually rotate your abilities to have Mantra of Healing consistently renewed every 3 seconds, which will consistently be absorbing 930 damage every 3 seconds, which isn't too shabby whatsoever. But like I said, I'm using the rune Time of Need, and Time of Need will prevent any incoming damage for an extra 20%. So, you know, that's definitely not too shabby. So for my passive is, my first passive is Transcendence. Transcendence basically just heals you for every point of spirit you are using. One with everything, which is really, really important. I'll get to showing to you why this is so fantastic, but basically it takes your highest resistance element and makes it become your resist all. So, you know, you just can't get past that. If you're in Inferno and you're not using that, then you need to change straight away. You need one with everything. And the other one is Seize the Initiative. Increases your armor by 100% of your dexterity. So I've got, I think it's around about 1500 dexterity at this stage. It's another 1500 armor, why not? You know, armor mitigates a lot of damage. So while we're doing this, let's look at gear. Okay, as I said, you know, I've learned a lot and I've changed a lot over the last few days, and one lesson that you can learn from my gear is this. This is my vitality number, 989. It's very low. The reason why it's low is quite simply I wasn't paying enough attention to the vitality when I was gearing up. I was too busy worrying about my resistances. You know, my resistances are quite good at the moment. Actually, they're very good at the moment. I'm not going to complain, but my vitality is quite low. I know there's a lot of people in Inferno Act 2, they're rolling about 15 to 1600 vitality easy. So, you know, it's a lot less than what I hoped for. And because of this, I have gemmed all of my dexterity into vitality at the cost of a fair bit of damage. So moving on, my helm, no vitality. I'm currently waiting for an auction, so hopefully I can get something good, but it does have a decent amount of dexterity and resistances. Amulet, again, I rolled for resistances and dexterity. And as you'll start to notice that the two resistances I'm stacking is resist all and my cold resist. So basically, the cold resist will act as a resist all because of that one with everything buff. Braces, you know, vitality, resistance, dexterity, not too bad. This ring, I hopefully am going to upgrade it soon. I do like attack speed increase on my rings. It does upgrade your damage a fair bit, but for the moment it's got great resistance. It's got some dexterity on there, not too shabby. This shield, well, someone actually posted this on Auction House very cheap, and I have a feeling that it was a mistake. Paid about 120k for this shield, but I'm very happy with the resistances. Yeah, so it's also got the 9% duration reduction for control and pairing effects again. So, you know, this is something we're going to come across a lot in Inferno. You know, you're consistently, you know, controlled as far as your movement is concerned from the elites that you come across. So 9% reduction in that, I'm not going to complain about. Boots, again, no vitality. Hopefully I'll be getting something soon with some vitality, but you know, it's decent resistance, dexterity. One-handed weapon's not too bad. As a matter of fact, I'm very happy with my weapon at the moment. You know, when I first leveled to 60, I was rolling with this. You know, it's fairly cheap, but it did the job, and it upgraded my damage by about 7,000 from a level 56 weapon that I was carrying around. So, you know, there's no complaining about the weapon that I've got at the moment. Very, very happy with that. It took me a long time to farm the gold for that. On the other side, I do have the attack speed increase that I like on rings. It's not the best ring for me because it does have strength, but you know, 74 strength is equal to 74 armor, so I'm not going to complain about the stats there. And it does have the socket to sort of allow me to gem for what I'm liking, and at the moment obviously that is vitality. Shield, same sort of thing, stacking the resist. It does have 11% magic find. I don't have much magic find at all, so I'm glad I have that for the time being. My chest stacked a lot of vitality in there. My belt, there's a bit of vitality in there now. I've only recently changed it. My legs are actually just changed so I could have the vitality. I did have these previously, so there goes that. Okay, so you've seen my gear. There's no need to go any further about that. To give you an idea of my stats, my armor, you know, it's not too bad. Almost at 6,000. That's just over 65% mitigation. My damage sits at 16,000. Now I'm not too concerned about my damage, even though I've just lost a lot. I've probably gone down about 2,500 in damage since I've changed all my gems over and changed a little bit of my gear. But the reason why I'm not too worried is, like I said, with Breath of Heaven, giving me that 15% buff will take me well over 18,000. You know, so, and that's going to be up most of the time. I'm not too worried about that at all. So there you have it. That's my gear, and that's sort of what I'm stacking at the moment. I do find that I'm surviving more than most people when I get into public games at this stage. Either people are getting there way too early, or you know, maybe my gear is actually quite good. But to be honest with you,
this is
that little bit of extra vitality,
everything worth doing,
you know,
is
it's definitely helpful. It's definitely there for a reason, and it's something I should have been paying more attention to. Just quickly showing you my resist statistics, because I think that's going to be the first things that people say that I forgot to show. So basically my resistance with my Mantra of Healing 20% extra buff is at 1197, and that's a lot. It's, to be honest with you, I don't even need any more. It's not something that I you know, expect to improve anytime soon. You know, and as a matter of fact, it might be a little bit overkill for Act 2, I don't know, but at this stage, you know, I'd be happy to lose a little bit of this for my vitality, but yeah, this is the one thing I left out of the last video, so I'm just sort of slotting it in between this video.
Raw, like a dungeon dragon. I'm starting to feel like a dungeon dragon. Look at my show footage, how these girls be spazzing. So fuck all